At the awards show, the new Wunderkind director proposed to me in front of everyone. The camera panned to me in the audience. It also caught the A-list actor next to me, my quiet, aloof husband, a secret we kept from the world. Under the glare of the camera, he had no choice but to applaud with the crowd, smiling as he whispered to me, "Wow, he's proposing." My brother and I are from a blended family. My mom forced her way into his once happy home, drove his mother insane, and then ran off with his father's money. She left me behind like dead weight. My mom didn't want me. His dad remarried and wanted to send me to an orphanage. My brother wanted me. He said, "We're family." That's what the papers say. I thought he just meant on paper. But the year I was a junior in college, the second I was old enough to legally marry, he took me to the courthouse and we signed a marriage certificate. That same year, he signed with an agency. His show blew up, and so did he. He became ridiculously famous. While he was racking up awards, I was working my way through grad school. No one knew about us. One day, while I was at the mall, a classmate spotted his giant ad on a screen. His chiseled profile was as stark as a mountain range, his detached gaze holding a hint of indifference. Oh my God, it's Liam. Who could resist that face? No wonder the big directors love him. Another new endorsement. My man is on fire. Quick, take a picture for me. I raised my phone to take the photo for her, staring at the face on the screen for a moment, lost in thought. "Tia, you like him too?" my classmate asked. "Get out of here." I've never seen her crush on any celebrity, someone next to me laughed. And we're all in film school. Liam's different, the classmate said. He's famous in the industry for being so level-headed and sophisticated. At 10:05 p.m., I got home from the mall. The apartment was pitch black, the floor-to-ceiling windows framing the decadent, chaotic neon of the city at night. "You're 5 minutes late." The voice from the darkness was detached and cold. He was sitting in a leather armchair, waiting for me to come to him. To come accept my punishment for breaking curfew. "Who were you out with?" He loosened his tie. "Classmates." "Guys?" "Girls. You know all of them." He held out his hand, his knuckles clean and long. I hesitated. Without another word, he reached into my coat pocket and took my phone. The faint blue light of the screen flickered across his fingers as he scrolled. He checked it meticulously. Anyone who had any contact with me had to be under his control. I reached out and touched the buttons of his black silk shirt. Beneath the smooth fabric, I could feel the firm lines of his muscles. He stopped scrolling. He looked up, his brow cold and sharp. "What do you think you're doing?" I didn't say a word, but my hands didn't stop. He grabbed my wrist. His face was blank, but he stopped me with a brutal force. "I'm not a pervert. I wouldn't do that to my own sister." I lifted my head to look at him. "But you would marry your sister." He pried my fingers off him, one by one. "You think I married you because I'm desperately in love with you?" He smiled, but his eyes were coated in ice. "You're just as cheap as your mother. What kind of decent person could come from such morally bankrupt stock? You're a slut. It's in your genes." He shoved me away, throwing the phone at my chest. I stumbled, weak, and crashed into the coffee table. Shards of glass scattered across the floor. He kicked them aside and looked down at me. "Married and divorced from your own brother. What man do you think would ever want you after that?" "Tia," he said, his face filled with disgust, "no one will ever love you." I hung my head, a dull ache spreading across my back. A new message popped up on my phone. I quickly covered the screen. Before Liam could look over, I grabbed his hand. "Liam, please don't be upset. I'll be good. I'll listen." He shot me an indifferent glance. After a long moment, he reached down and helped me up. He pulled out a tissue and gently wiped the blood from my palm. "Be home by 10 from now on. And no more skirts." I nodded earnestly. Liam, can you stay with me tonight? A sneer played on his lips. You think that's possible? He swatted my hand away again. Would it kill you to be without me for one day? I have to get back to the set. He had taken a break from filming, flown back, waited 3 hours for me, and was now flying back again. All just to make sure I was home. As he expected, I was always obedient. The moment the door closed, I unlocked my phone and replied to the text from the unknown number. He's gone. You can come up. My brother doesn't know I have severe touch starvation. It makes me uncontrollably agitated. I cry and suffer from insomnia all night. My therapist said it might be because I was abandoned as a child. I once asked my brother for help, since he was the only one willing to take me in. I truly did love him. Brother, I can't sleep. Can you just hold me for a second? I was so timid. But in the chilly spring night, my voice was amplified. To his teenage mind, already on edge, my words sounded far too suggestive. In your dreams. Don't even think about it. He yelled at me to get out of his room. But just as I was about to leave, he called me back. You think a hug is all it will take to satisfy you? His eyes were full of mockery, looking down on me from his high horse. A piece of trash like you, who would ever touch you? My brother was right. When I was little, I just wanted my mom to hold me. I begged her, crying, but I interrupted her date with my stepfather. Later, in private, she would slap me. You little bitch. We're both women. Who do you think you're fooling, playing the victim? They all said I was a manipulative girl, unworthy of love. But I didn't know what I had done wrong. So, the next day at school, I sincerely asked my desk mate. If I loved you very, very much, would you be willing to give me a hug? Just one. It was the first thing I ever said to him. Before that, he was the golden boy, top of the class in looks and background. And I was just a nobody. The class erupted in jeers, laughing at me for punching so far above my weight. They thought it was another failed love confession. But he didn't join in. Instead, after thinking seriously for a moment, he said to me, I'm sorry, but now's not a good time. Failure, as expected. After all, we were worlds apart. After that, he quickly faded from my life. During the first semester of senior year, after summer break, everyone was talking. David went to study abroad. He's in the US for film school. He was never planning on taking the SATs anyway. I heard a film he made won an award. He's really not in the same world as us. At 19, David Drake had made a name for himself in the indie film scene with a student project he wrote and directed himself. He was a true prodigy. I heard he'd secured funding for another film and had a bright future ahead of him in America. And I was just a girl who had shared a desk with him for one semester. A footnote in his dazzling youth. But I yearned for that bright, burning light. So, later, I also applied to film school. When Liam found out, he was surprised. Why this? He asked. My grades were excellent, I had plenty of other options. I didn't answer. His eyes flickered. For me? It wasn't. But it was the first time I lied to him. Yes. I want to be closer to you, Liam. Once you tell one lie, it's a slippery slope. A mad desire for revenge grew inside me. I loved watching Liam think he understood me. I finally became the scheming girl he always said I was. I thought I would never cross paths with David again. Until a few days ago, when a classmate told me she was going to an audition. Director Drake's new film, Luminous, is casting on campus. Oh my God, he's just as handsome as they say in person. It's probably just for show. You won't get picked without connections. Who knows? It's worth a shot just to get your face seen. I squeezed through the crowd and saw him sitting on the stage. He was wearing a casual black hoodie that couldn't hide his tall frame or his delicate features. The boyish innocence I remembered was gone, replaced by an unfamiliar, languid weariness. I was pushed out of the crowd by people behind me, and my classmate dragged me off to go shopping. She sighed, "I wonder what kind of person someone like David Drake would fall for." As soon as the words left her mouth, we saw Liam's ad on the giant screen. It could be anyone. But it could never, ever be someone like me. A married woman. A woman married to her own brother. It was impossible before, and it's even more impossible now. But as I sent the photo from my phone to my classmate, I inexplicably remembered David's high school phone number. A string of digits I had never once dared to dial. Before I went home, I sent a text to that number. "Hi David, this is Tia. I was wondering if you could give me a chance to audition for Luminous." As I typed, I thought, this is ridiculous. He probably doesn't even use this number anymore, and he wouldn't remember me anyway. How would he ever reply to what looks like a total scam text? As I thought about deleting it, I opened my front door. "You're 5 minutes late." My brother's voice from the darkness made my hands shake. The message sent. I quickly swiped back and deleted the record. Liam left. The moment the door closed, I frantically sent another text. "He's gone. You can come up." My eyes scanned the phone number, and I froze for a few seconds. Oh, crap. I sent it to the wrong person. That message was meant for my agent. Liam didn't want me in the entertainment industry, afraid I'd ride his coattails. But I wanted to make my own money, so I signed with an agency on the sly. Tonight, my agent, Jenna, was supposed to bring me a script, but she'd almost run into Liam. "Is your brother gone?" Jenna, who had been hiding downstairs for ages, called me. "Tia, I messed up." The second she walked in, I showed her the message I'd sent by mistake. She took a drag from her cigarette and asked, "How did you even dare?" I thought she was talking about the second text, but she pointed to the first one. "You want to audition for Luminous? So many people are fighting for that part. Even your brother had to humble himself to beg for the lead role." I took my phone back, but she kept talking. "Wait a minute, why do you have the great director Drake's phone number?" "We were classmates in high school," I said. She chuckled and stubbed out her cigarette. "The world is full of high school classmates whose names you can't remember. And you're not the first person to try and pull strings like this, but David Drake is famous for hating people who do." Jenna took my phone and reread the text message. "A guy that proud, he'd have to be insane to wait downstairs for your husband to leave before coming up." She couldn't help but laugh. If we sold this text to the paparazzi and spun the story a little. I didn't let her finish, snatching my phone back and deleting the entire chat history in a few taps. She raised an eyebrow. "What's the rush? You can't even land a fourth-string role in a web series. What's your status? What's his? No one would even believe you were trying to clout chase off him." I put my phone away and said seriously, "All I want is a chance, not a shortcut." Jenna's gaze sharpened. "But by sending a text like that, even if he remembers you, he's going to think you're desperate and easy." I didn't reply, just curled up on the sofa and started reading the script. "You know, you could totally use your brother's connections," she said, leaning closer. After all, Liam doesn't hold back when he decides to promote someone. My brother was currently promoting a new actress. Promoting her in a way that crossed all boundaries. "Chloe, you know her, right?" Her tone shifted. "And you know, she looks a lot like you." "She doesn't. She's younger and prettier. In my brother's words, cleaner. As clean as I looked when I first met my brother, a girl who needed protecting at every turn. He protected her very well." "I know," I said. One morning at 4:30 a.m., she used his phone to send me a photo. A picture of a hickey on her pale neck. "Hey, sis, don't you want a taste of this too?" "But what can you do? This is something my man only does for me." Liam let her send it. He even seemed to enjoy it. "And you're still not divorcing him?" Jenna asked me. "Because there's something wrong with me." Over the years, my touch starvation had gotten so severe that only Liam's touch could soothe it. He knew this perfectly well. That's why he was so sure I would never leave him. No matter how cruel he was, I would endure it. I was already numb. People come together for their own benefit. He and I were like that, and so were my parents. Marriage is just that. Love is just that. Some people find happiness, but it would never be me. I no longer believed that someone would ever come to love me sincerely. Jenna asked, but what if, right now, there was someone else? Impossible. I forced a smile and cut her off. Just say if. Imagine it, she pressed. He really, really loves you. I'd go with him. My answer was just as quick. I'd go with him and never look back. But alas, that person doesn't exist. With that topic exhausted, I read my script, and she looked over her contracts. The wind picked up outside, and everything fell quiet. Jenna crashed at my place and slept soundly. I, on the other hand, lay awake, staring at the ceiling, sleepless until 4:30 a.m. That time again. The sound of a motorcycle engine grew louder, approaching from the distance. Some rebellious teenager coming home late? My phone rang. It was mine. An unknown number. The number I'd never dialed but knew by heart. The number that should have died with my 17-year-old self. Hello, David Drake speaking. My voice was calmer than I expected. His voice was more familiar than I expected. After all these years, the first words he spoke to me were, "I'm here. Come down." The man was insane. I've never felt the elevator in my apartment building take so long. The reflection in the mirror showed a sleep-deprived, disheveled me. His timing was always terrible. The year we became desk mates in high school, my face was a minefield of acne. When I moved my things to the corner of the classroom reserved for the golden kids like him, the atmosphere instantly chilled. The boy behind me playfully nudged David and let out a disappointed TSK. I didn't say a word to him for a week. Until one day, during a break, a popular girl came over to flirt with them, her elbow resting on the corner of my textbook. She said to me, "Hey, you. I talked to the teacher. I want to switch seats with you." Suddenly, all eyes were on me. Her tone was light, but the message was clear: don't be difficult. My hand tightened on my test paper. She ignored me and turned to smile at David. "From now on, you better not bully me." I quickly gathered my things to get up, but a hand grabbed my wrist. "No." His voice was even, but his grip was firm, pressing me back into the seat beside him. Everyone stared, their gazes flitting between the two of us. He offered no explanation. He didn't even look at me. He just pulled his hand back and casually resumed his previous conversation with the boy behind him. "The team has a game tomorrow. I can't make it to your place." "Oh, right. No problem." The atmosphere thawed. But in the light of the setting sun, I saw his ears turn bright red. Liam didn't know that in all these years, my condition had only one exception. One other person, besides him, who could trigger it. David. Ding. The elevator reached the ground floor, pulling me from my memories. I pushed open the lobby door. Outside, the biting early spring night was heavy with the north wind. He was waiting for me in the snow. Under his helmet, I couldn't see his ears, only a pair of cold, sharp eyes. Run away with him. Or maybe, tonight, just shamelessly take him for myself. My mind was screaming with all sorts of irrational thoughts. Seeing me, he spoke first. "Tia, you're not right for Luminous." Concise and to the point. Not a hint of the grogginess one would expect from a middle-of-the-night visitor. "Your look and vibe aren't a match, and your acting needs a lot of work. I don't have time to wait for you to grow on this project." Oh. So he came here at 4:30 a.m. just to reject my audition request. He really hated people who tried to pull strings. Especially me, someone who was only a casual acquaintance from school. Hated it so much that he had to show up in person in the middle of the night to lecture me. And here I was, fantasizing about other things. So the great director Drake came all this way just to tell me that? He was silent. I crossed my arms and took a step back. He took in my movement, then raised a hand and removed his black helmet, revealing a ridiculously handsome face. No. He finally spoke. I came to ask who he is. I froze, not understanding. He pulled off his motorcycle glove with one hand, took out his phone, and showed me the glaringly obvious message. The message I sent. He's gone. You can come up. I looked away and didn't lie. My husband. I had never called Liam that before. Saying it was a punishment for myself, right here in front of David. David visibly tensed, his long lashes trembling. You're married? Yes. Disappointment. He was going to be just like everyone else. Sorry, I sent it by mistake, I said, my voice wavering. It wasn't meant for you. Who was it meant for? My agent. I confessed everything. My husband doesn't approve of me acting, so he was coming over secretly to give me a script. He doesn't approve, so you're just going to give up? He asked too quickly. As if he were angry. But why would he be angry? No. I clutched the keys in my hand. I want to act. Are you too unhappy? Yes. Is he bad to you? Yes. What was the point of him asking all this? To laugh at my miserable life? I looked at him. That's why I came to you. What good can I do? He tilted his head slightly, using his height to look down at me. What do you want from me? You can help. You can give me a chance. And why should I cast you? His tone was even more distant than before. As if he were suppressing something that was about to burst out. Tia, what are we to each other? I couldn't answer. We're nothing, I said, avoiding his eyes. I'm sorry. I was out of line. I won't message you so recklessly again, ever. When are you getting a divorce? He cut me off, completely out of the blue. I looked up. He glanced away, then met my gaze again and didn't look away. I don't cast married women. He was waiting for my answer. I will, but it'll take time. Here. He pulled a manuscript and a box of DVDs from inside his coat. They had been tucked against his chest and were still warm. This is my next confidential project. It fits your look and vibe. I can coach you on your acting. Tia, I can wait for you. Did you order takeout in the middle of the night? Jenna, woken by the noise, groggily opened her eyes. No, go back to sleep. I knelt down and put the disc into the player. What the hell, she said, suddenly wide awake. Who sends you something this ancient? David said he wrote the script and the movie was for me to study. An image slowly faded onto the TV screen. It was an old film from the last century. Neon signs glowed over a cramped, gritty street. Inside a room, a man and a woman. The camera pulled back, the city traffic noise faded, and human voices grew closer. The next second, extremely graphic sounds filled the room. I hit the power button with a sharp click. Who was that? Jenna blinked. Which obsessed psycho fan sends you a porn flick in the middle of the night? David Drake. Jenna laughed, then put her hand on my forehead. You don't have a fever. I brushed her hand away and pulled out the manuscript. The edges were curled, and it looked old. The first page bore the title, The Vessel. Beneath it, in strong handwriting, was his name and a date. 10 years ago. 10 years ago, when I was a freshman in high school. The storyboards were incredibly detailed, with extensive notes, like reading a comic book. The female lead's face, in particular, looked like it was drawn directly from a picture of me in high school. Holy crap, Jenna's face changed, her smile vanishing. This is really David Drake's work. David's storyboards were famously rare in the industry. He just gave it to you? And delivered it himself in the middle of the night? Are you two really just high school classmates? She turned the TV back on. Amidst the chorus of amorous sounds, she began to study the film with a serious expression. Obsessed Psycho fan? I couldn't help but ask. Hey. That's shallow, she slapped her thigh. He's doing this for a reason. By the time the movie ended, the sky was getting light. Jenna was snoring, but I replayed the film, analyzing it shot by shot. Until a wave of physiological exhaustion washed over me. I hadn't slept that soundly in a long time. I woke up the next afternoon to my phone ringing. It was Jenna. When did you leave? I asked. You need to check what's trending. David Drake motorcycle. David Drake 4th Street. I clicked on the trending topics. It was a photo a passerby had posted last night. You guys will not believe this, I was up late doing homework and saw David Drake outside my building. Under a streetlight, he stood at the alley entrance, holding his helmet, his ears red from the wind. He was staring at his phone, lost in thought, as if waiting for someone. 4th Street. That was where I used to live in high school. A whole city away from my current apartment. A message popped up on my phone. My high school class president told me that at 10:30 last night, David had come to him asking for my home address. At first, I thought you still lived on 4th Street, so I told him that. Then I figured you'd probably moved, so I asked around and sent him your new address around midnight. Did he ever find you? My hand hovered over the keyboard as Jenna's voice on the phone pulled me back. Everyone on set is going crazy with the gossip. A guy who's been super principled for years, who never leaves the set once filming starts, suddenly gets a text last night and just rides off on his bike. People on the crew said he rode like a maniac for hundreds of miles, 7 hours straight, to God knows where, and then came back to the set. So now he's in the hospital with a fever, getting in 4 drip on set. As she spoke, Jenna sent me a picture. On the bare bones set, he was sitting in the director's chair, wrapped in a large black coat, his pale face exposed. His lips were pressed together, looking serious and unapproachable. But the flush from the fever made him look exceptionally soft and fragile. Everyone's asking me why I'm not the least bit curious. Tia, can you tell me why I'm not curious? Jenna lowered her voice. What is going on between you two? We were high school classmates. What kind of high school classmate rides across 2 cities in the middle of the night to bring you a movie while your husband's out? I didn't answer. It was noisy on Jenna's end. She said, today is the audition for Luminous. You should come. We can talk to David about the confidential project. Okay. By the way, your brother is here too. David's films always won awards. Liam had been trying to get a part in one of his movies for a long time. Jenna warned me, try to avoid him. Don't run into him. The set was crowded. When I arrived, Jenna was talking to the producer. The producer was an old friend of David's. He looked up, saw me, and gave me a meaningful smile. I've heard so much about you. As someone who had never even been in a film, I didn't deserve his praise. But there's one thing, the producer said, putting down the contract. You've seen the storyboards for the vessel. There are a lot of intimate scenes, and they're pretty explicit. Are you okay with that? Jenna glanced at me. Can we use camera tricks? The producer raised an eyebrow and said nothing. David's films were known for their realism. He excelled at capturing actors' genuine reactions. I can try, I said. This might be the only chance of my career. I couldn't let my past trauma hold me back forever. Good, the producer said, giving me an approving look. They're auditioning up front. I'll arrange for you to try out too. But aren't they auditioning for Luminous? Jenna asked. It doesn't matter. David's the one making the call. The producer had someone lead me over. Before I left, he said, don't be nervous. You'll be acting opposite an A-lister. He can guide you. What a lister. I turned back. Liam, he patted my shoulder. Excited? I wanted to die. The audition studio was packed, and a light snow was falling outside. I immediately spotted Liam's agent. And sitting next to him was Chloe, wearing the coat I had bought for Liam. Our eyes met unexpectedly. She looked frightened and clutched the hem of the coat tightly. She was undeniably beautiful, the kind of person you wanted to protect. After Liam finished his audition, he came out of the room and walked straight to her, naturally taking her hand. "Why are you so cold?" Following her gaze, Liam saw me standing by the entrance. He frowned and used his body to shield Chloe. He was protecting her, and also creating distance from me. Liam took out his phone and started typing. My phone vibrated. A message from him. "Liam, what are you doing here?" "Liam, you think you belong here?" "Liam, don't you dare touch her." "Me, I'm here to audition." "Liam, that's hilarious. What gives you the right?" I didn't reply because a production assistant came to find me. "Ma'am, you're up next. You're the last one for today. Here are your lines." A row of industry heavyweights sat in the room, investors, and the casting director. But the final decision always came down to David. So where was he? I looked down at the script. Luckily, I had practiced this scene before. Just as I was about to thank the PA, someone grabbed me forcefully and dragged me out of the studio. The snow was getting heavier, and ice was forming on the ground. Liam's actions drew a few stares, but he quickly pulled me into the shadows. "You signed with an agency?" His voice was thick with anger. "In what capacity are you questioning me right now?" I asked calmly. "As my brother or as my husband?" "Don't disgust me." He let go, his expression annoyed. "I remember warning you not to use my connections to get resources." "So, he thought I was here because of him?" "It's not because of you." "If not me, then who?" More people were gathering nearby, and he didn't want to be seen with me. "Go home. Right now. I'm here to audition." "You?" He laughed, the sound bitter. "With what? You can't stand anyone's touch but mine." He was always like this, tearing open my wounds and my illness just to mock me. Chloe had appeared behind us at some point, not daring to come closer, but her eyes were full of concern. He couldn't bear to see her standing in the snow. The PA inside called for the next person. Liam grabbed me and pulled me close. "You want to audition?" "Fine," he whispered threateningly. "I'll show you what you can and cannot do." With that, he flung my hand away like he was discarding trash. The ground was icy. I lost my balance, and my head nearly slammed into the metal scaffolding behind me. Liam hadn't expected it. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes, and he instinctively reached for me. But he was a step too late. I fell backward into someone's warm chest. He wrapped an arm around my shoulder, steadying me and the scaffolding. I looked up, my head brushing against his chin. He let out a soft hiss and looked down at me. His clear eyes, with their slightly upturned corners, were tinged with the red of a cold spring. This man had a fever. No wonder he was so warm. He didn't let go, his gaze passing over me to land on Liam. Liam was staring back at him, his eyes fixed on the hand on my shoulder. In response, David tightened his grip. "Who put this scaffolding here?" The producer called out from behind, nudging David. "Get inside. You want to end up back in the hospital?" His hand left my shoulder. He was ushered into the room by the surrounding crew. The producer whispered something to him. "It's crowded today. Please, for my sake, try to behave. Your eyes are practically glued to the girl." The words were quiet, but both Liam and I heard them. Chloe stepped forward to take Liam's hand, but he didn't move. He strode toward me, demanding, "You know him?" "No." I lied. He moved closer. "He touched you." "It was an accident." The more I answered, the darker his mood became. He knew I was lying. Something that was about to spin out of control broke free. Liam reached out and pressed down on my shoulder. I tried to dodge, but he held firm. He covered the exact spot the other man had touched. Liam, Chloe's voice was urgent. It's time for the audition. They're calling for you. Does Liam seem a little off? As I entered the room, I heard a staff member whisper in the corner. The scene was about the male and female leads reuniting years later in a small restaurant. One is a billionaire who has never married. The other is struggling financially and is already a wife. Their feelings are a tangled mess, desire simmering, but each is more restrained than the other. Until a summer thunderstorm hits that night. The male lead gets soaked and is forced to change at the female lead's place. There, he sees her shabby living conditions and, deep in her closet, an old piece of his clothing. Yeah, Liam's expression isn't like the male lead's. It's more like the clueless husband who knows nothing. And why does he keep staring at Director Drake? The set fell silent, the whispers dying out. I stood in front of Liam, and he was facing the director's table. I knelt down to put the clothes in the closet and said to him, "I'm not going to leave my husband." "You don't have to worry." The more certain the words, the more guilty the expression. I love my husband very, very much. The more I talked, the harder it was to control my body. "You're lying." He walked toward me, step by step. "You're actually lying to me for him?" That line wasn't in the script. He was losing it. According to the script, he was supposed to embrace me, pressing me against the peeling wall of the rental apartment. But he didn't. Liam looked past me, his eyes fixed on David, who was sitting in the director's chair behind me. "She can't do this role." Liam's words sent a shockwave through the room. In all his years in the industry, he had never been so openly emotional. Reason? David's expression was nonchalant, but his one word silenced the room. "I don't act with amateurs." "She can't do intimate scenes," Liam said, tugging at his tie. "If you don't believe me, try it with someone else." The casting director glanced at David. The man maintained his usual arrogant and distant demeanor, not saying a word. "Ben, you're up," the casting director called for the third male lead. "Pick it up from here." The actor came up and immediately wrapped his arms around me, knocking some paint off the wall. I tried my best to endure it, but my mind was flooded with images of disappointed, disgusted, and contemptuous eyes. They swarmed over me like ants, trying to crawl into my veins. I shuddered and pulled away. It was a small movement, but everyone on set understood. Liam let out a small, derisive laugh. Everything was going according to his plan. I was still under his control. One of the investors let out a dissatisfied TSK. "Why are they letting just anyone up here?" Chloe smiled faintly, clutching Liam's coat. Liam walked over and brushed the dust from my clothes. In front of everyone, he put on a show of being the good guy. "It's okay. It happens to newcomers. Keep trying." Then, he quickly leaned in and whispered in my ear. "See, little sister. Your body can only accept me. That's just how you're built, you cheap whore." I pushed his hand away. "You and I will try it once." The person who spoke was David. He walked up, script in hand, and tilted his head slightly at Liam. "What are you waiting for? Get down. It's not your turn anymore." Liam stood in front of me. "Director Drake, it'll be the same with you. How will we know if we don't try?" Under everyone's gaze, Liam had no choice but to step down, his face dark. People around us started whispering. "The director is going to act himself?" It's not that surprising. He directed and starred in his first film. I was stunned, my eyes meeting David's. I took a deep breath. I knelt down, rummaging through the clothes, trying to get back into character. "I'm not going to leave my husband." "You don't have to worry." The same line, but this time, it was laced with a strange panic. "I love my husband very, very much." I turned around. He was staring at me. He didn't say a word. A standoff. I felt lost, avoiding his gaze, and repeated the line again. I love my husband very. He embraced me. Possessive, invasive, and unyieldingly firm. It was too warm. I instinctively struggled. Just for a second. His voice was exceptionally gentle. Tia, he whispered in my ear, if I loved you very, very much, would you be willing to give me a hug? Outside the studio, the snow fell harder. So hard that I felt like I was hearing that question from a long ago summer, echoing back to me in the dead of winter, 10 years later. I raised my hands and, right in front of Liam, I hugged him back. Liam led the applause. His expression was completely flat, unnervingly calm. The applause slowly filled the small room. She got into character so fast. The feeling is so real. So she can do intimate scenes. With someone else, the chemistry is off the charts. Maybe it was just the wrong person. Hey, where did Liam go? I looked up and saw only the empty, open doorway. Was it him? David asked me. A completely random question. But we both knew what he was asking. He read my expression and let go. The audition was over. The studio was packing up. He got up to leave, separated from me by a sea of people. Was he bothered by it? Probably. But I had no right to ask. I wrapped my down jacket around me and ran outside to find my agent. I walked quite a distance from the set but still couldn't find her, so I tried calling. A black luxury car sped directly toward me. There was a stone wall behind me I had no way to escape. But it screeched to a halt just a few feet from my knees. I saw Liam in the driver's seat, smiling. Just as the rumor said, sophisticated and gentle. Get in. We're going home. I didn't move. He rested one hand on the car window and leaned out slightly. What, you want everyone on set to know about us? In the distance, I heard the producer calling for David. I got in the car. The car sped away from the set. The speed was fast, excessively so. But the man next to me looked perfectly normal, showing no signs of distress. He stopped at a red light and took a call. Yeah, I'm heading back. The person on the other end seemed to mention my name. He glanced at me, his expression complex. Impossible. The person on the other end was annoyed, their voice loud enough for me to catch a few words. Your whole career transition depends on this role. Don't gamble with your career. You're not getting any younger. If you piss him off, you'll be blacklisted in a second. Liam didn't respond, he just hung up. The light turned green, and the car moved. My phone vibrated. Over a dozen messages from Jenna. Inside scoop, your brother fought for this role in Luminous for ages and couldn't get it. He thought it was a sure thing today, which is why he came to audition. The marketing team already sent out the press releases. The investors had all agreed, but the director blocked it. The producer just told me privately that right after your audition, David went to talk to Liam's agent. He said he doesn't cast married actors. If Liam gets a divorce, the role is his. This is insane. He really came at him like that? Who are you talking to? Liam's voice interrupted me. I turned off the screen and put my phone away. You signed with an agency? He asked. Yes. Good. His hands rested on the steering wheel as we entered the underground garage. The car was swallowed by darkness. When did you two meet? He didn't say a name. But we both knew. There was someone else besides him. High school. He let out a soft laugh. That long ago? Been in touch this whole time? He paused. So every time I checked your phone, you had already deleted the chat history. We weren't in touch. So you just got together recently? What date? What time? Did you initiate it, or did he? His tone was calm, his emotions so steady he sounded like he was just asking about his little sister's life. Are you angry? I asked. Not at all. The car stopped perfectly in its designated spot, not an inch off. That's the kind of person he was. He couldn't stand the slightest loss of control. Why would I be angry? He reached over and unbuckled my seatbelt. It's good. Have more friends. It's just for fun. Your big brother doesn't mind. We went upstairs. The door closed. He walked ahead of me and stood in the entryway. He took off his watch, then his coat. I went to the kitchen and poured a glass of warm water. He sat on the sofa and turned on the TV. That familiar, graphic sound filled the room. I forgot. I hadn't taken out the DVD David gave me. Liam glanced at the DVD case on the table. It had David's name on it. What did you offer him? Liam tossed the case into the trash. He told you he'd give you the role if you spent the night with him? No. He smiled. You were rejected. He didn't give you a single role in Luminous, you know that? This industry is a mess. You really are pathetically cheap, little sister. He's not like that, I said. He pulled off his dark gray tie and walked toward me. Drink your water first, he said, leaning down and blocking the doorway. It's cold. I didn't drink it. I threw it in his face. Water dripped down his jaw. His smile vanished, and he stared at me, his eyes dark and menacing. The next second, my thin coat was ripped open. I struggled, but my hands were bound by the tie. Liam, I thought you didn't touch me. What? He can touch you, but I can't. His breath was ragged, his control slipping. Now some other guy just has to beckon, and you go running, don't you? You really are. Cheap, I said, my face calm. Is that what you wanted to say? He stopped, his lips pressed into a thin line. Liam, do you have any idea that when this condition flares up, I feel so ashamed and miserable I want to die? I feel more disgusting than anyone. I don't need you to tell me over and over again. He froze, his grip on my wrists tightening. You deserve it. You're just like your mother. I'm not, I looked up. I don't owe you anything, Liam. For all these years, I was the one who gave him medicine when he was sick, who ran through the rain to get him to his exams, who lived with him in a basement apartment. I was the one who unconditionally absorbed all the negative emotions he never showed to the outside world. How dare you say you don't owe me? He sneered. The apartment you live in, your tuition, I paid for all of it. My scholarship was enough for tuition, and I gave you all the money I earned from my part-time jobs. You want to do the math? He demanded. Can you even calculate it all, piece by piece? Let's calculate it. I'll pay you back for everything. He grabbed my chin, forcing me to look at him. When your mother abandoned you, you little bastard, who was it that took you in? What are you going to use to pay me back for that? And who was it that clung to my side, who tried to crawl into my bed at night? Now you're all grown up, you've gotten everything you wanted, and you're just going to run off with another man? I looked him straight in the eye. Have you ever been short of women by your side all these years? Whether it was familial love or romantic love, Liam, you never gave me any of it. You never stopped reminding me that my very existence is a shameless disgrace, that I was born to atone for my mother's sins. And isn't that true? His voice drowned out mine, his eyes filled with an emotion he could no longer control. If you weren't atoning, then what reason would we have to be tied together? Wouldn't that just make me some shameless pervert who fell in love with his own sister? Ah, so that's how it was. He enjoyed everything I gave him, but he wanted me to bear the moral judgment alone. He wanted to be the one who was pure and noble. And I could only be the maggot hidden away at home, unseen by the world. His phone rang. The caller ID showed Chloe. He steadied his breathing. He slowly loosened the tie binding me and said, "Shut up for a minute." Then, he turned and went to the balcony to answer the call. And I picked the DVD case out of the trash, collected the disc, and ran. After a week of staying at Jenna's, Liam's agent found me. He made me sign a stack of non-disclosure agreements. Contracts were spread all over the table. I asked. He can't even come tell me about the divorce himself? He has a high-stakes contract on the line. He has to get that role in David's film. The agent frowned, a hint of impatience in his voice. If you think the money's not enough, we can add more. I signed, and he took the papers. We've already coordinated with the media. The process will be quick. See you at the city clerk's office tomorrow morning. Don't be late. The next day, Liam showed up dressed discreetly, wearing a mask and a hat. He looked just like he did on our wedding day. Never in the daylight. We submitted the paperwork at the counter and got the receipt. It really did only take 10 minutes. The clerk said, "You just have to come back one more time in 30 days. Neither of us said a word. It wasn't until we reached a dark corner of the parking garage that he stopped me, checking to make sure no one was around. Where are you living now? I didn't answer. Move back in, he said. The divorce is just temporary. You mean, after you get the role, finish the movie, and win the award, we'll get remarried? He pressed his lips together and looked away. I pushed him aside and started walking toward Jenna's car. I looked into it. There's really nothing between you and him, he said, grabbing me with one hand. Makes sense. Why would someone like David Drake ever be interested in you? He let go. When this is all over, come home. Be a good girl, Tia. Liam was busy. He went to the set, his fame soaring. The month his role was officially announced, he was constantly trending online and landed a flood of endorsements. Rumors of his romance with Chloe also circulated frequently. Chloe repeatedly posted subtle hints on social media, showing off matching items. They were all things I had once bought for Liam. Including a piece of merchandise I had bought for him in the pouring rain with the first paycheck from my summer job. But none of that mattered to me anymore. After I got the divorce certificate, I turned down all commercial gigs to focus on studying the Vessel script and analyzing the film. 4 months later, Jenna called to tell me it was time to get ready to join the production. The night before we were set to leave for the mountains to film, the air was thick with the rumble of distant thunder. I went back to the apartment one last time to clear out my things. Unexpectedly, I ran into Chloe. She was hanging new curtains. The entire apartment had been redecorated to her taste, including the bedsheets. Oh, your things? They were all thrown out. She smiled, her face a mask of innocence. Liam gave me the key. I asked her where she threw them. She said, in the recycling bins downstairs. As I turned to leave, she added another jab. They say unloved women age fast. Looking at you, it seems to be true. The recycling area in the complex had already been emptied. This apartment belonged to Liam, so I had no right to ask her to leave. When it came to benefits, he always drew a clear line with me. He couldn't give me anything. It was best if I had nothing but him. Another flash of lightning, and the rain that had been holding back for so long finally poured down. I ran, soaked and miserable, into the lobby to take shelter. Jenna's phone wasn't picking up, and the rain showed no sign of stopping. As I bent down to wipe my shoes, half of an umbrella appeared over my head. The person holding it wore a large coat, filled with the damp mist of a late summer night. I asked, "Don't tell me this is a coincidence." He said, "It's not. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Just a few hours ago, photos from the wrap party for Luminous were all over the internet, and now this man was standing right in front of me. How long did you ride this time?" I couldn't help but tease him. He turned his head, not looking at me, but he couldn't suppress the smile on his lips. "Not long. You didn't get a fever this time, did you?" I reached up to feel his forehead, but he gently caught my wrist. He asked, "How's the script coming along?" I said, "Director Drake, are you here to check my homework?" "No." "Then what for?" "Because I wanted to see you." I froze, and my hand easily slipped from his grasp. When people are at a loss, they always bring up the worst possible topic. Like me, right now. "David, did you intentionally make Liam and me get a divorce?" His eyes were clear, his long lashes trembling slightly. Are you mad? Before I could answer, he added, even if you are, I'm not sorry. The rain and mist made his eyes look exceptionally wet. Was he crying? He noticed me watching him and looked away. He wouldn't let me see. He said, in my entire life, this is the only bad thing I've ever done. But why? He turned his head back. You still don't understand? I understand, but you don't. I looked him straight in the eye. David, there's something wrong with me. I confessed everything to him. I confessed the most shameful hunger inside me. He listened, his eyes growing heavier and heavier. Disgusting, right? He would find it disgusting too. Don't be so nice to me so easily. I have a problem. I get attached too easily. I'm cheap. I don't deserve to be loved. That's what they all say. Everyone who gets close to me eventually leaves me. David, But he held out his hand to me. So, are you going to take my hand now? That was his entire reaction after hearing everything. I reached out and my fingers touched his palm. It was warm and dry. He clasped my hand, leaned down, and pulled me completely into his arms. So tight that my breath mingled with his. Is this enough? His voice seemed to vibrate through my own heartbeat. I nodded. But he didn't let go. He nuzzled my hair and said in a muffled voice. It's not enough for me. The rain outside grew heavier, whipping the tree branches. Tia, I'm the one who needs you. We went up the mountain to the set. David himself was playing the male lead in the vessel. Even Jenna, who was on set, couldn't help but marvel. What kind of crazy luck do you have? Your first movie is with a famous director. For the first month and a half, I was just living the part, getting into character, and David would coach me through scenes. The next month and a half were for intensive filming, right up to the wrap. The valley was rainy, especially during the transition from summer to fall. The day we wrapped happened to be my birthday. After I finished my last scene and went back to my room, it started raining again. But the sound of the rain couldn't drown out the excited chatter of the crew. Someone knocked on my door. Oh my God, Tia. The assistant director was beaming. So Liam is your brother. I was wondering why Director Drake was taking such good care of you. Quick, come on. He brought a ton of stuff. Everyone's just waiting for you. Liam had come to visit the set. I hadn't told him I was filming. He thought I was jobless and hiding at home. The mountain fog was thick. He stood in the middle of the lively crowd. In front of him was an absurdly large cake, covered in candles. The flickering candlelight cast his face in light and shadow as he looked at me. Happy birthday, little sister. He had never once celebrated my birthday. But today, while David was down the mountain buying supplies, he threw me a huge party. He made sure the entire crew knew our relationship. I'm so jealous of you, Tia. Your brother must give you all your opportunities. He wanted my name to be forever tied to his. David still hadn't returned. When I went into my room, Liam followed me. I blocked him at the door. I can't get used to other rooms, he said, leaning against the wall. The angrier I got, the better his mood became. It's perfectly normal for a brother and sister to share a room, right? Someone walked by. I instinctively pulled away from him. He took the opportunity to slip inside and lock the door behind him. I brought you a birthday present. He held out a beautifully wrapped box. When I didn't take it, he opened it himself. Inside was a dead hamster, its body stiff. I recoiled in horror, backing into the wall. You wanted to raise one when you were little. You begged me for a long time. My reaction made him laugh. If I had agreed back then, it would have ended up dead like this. See, little sister. I helped you avoid unnecessary pain. I clutched my phone and secretly called Jenna. Going behind my back to join a film, and as the female lead, no less. If the investors hadn't told me, I would have never known how capable my little sister is. What kind of spell did you cast on David? Did you do the same thing to him that you once did to me? He talked on, cornering me step by step. The first time you wanted to come into my room, I said no. You waited outside my door all night like a little cat, terrified I would abandon you. Later, you wanted to go to film school, said you wanted to act to be closer to me. And now? Getting involved with David, is that also just to make me angry? I looked at him calmly. He raised his hand and tightened it around my neck. Say something, he said, his voice agitated. Isn't that mouth of yours best at saying things to make me happy? Why won't you even bother to lie to me now? We're divorced. It's over. I'm your brother. It will never be over. We don't have the same father or mother. You had me removed from the family register when we got married. Now that we're divorced, we have no legal relationship at all. My face was a mask of calm, letting his anger wash over me. You chose all of this. Now we're just strangers. He let go, laughing as he stumbled back until he hit the door, finding his balance. Tia, if you don't want me, plenty of people do, he said. Don't you regret this? Liam's agent knocked on the door. The flight is at 11. We're going to be late. You still have that variety show to record. When Liam opened the door to leave, David was standing there. They looked at each other. Liam didn't dare say a word. After all, Luminous hadn't finished post-production yet. The rain had stopped, and the fog was clearing. I wondered how much he had heard from outside the door. Are you angry? I asked. No, he said, his hair damp with mist. I was just afraid he would hurt you. He respected me, giving me time to sort out my relationship with Liam. Well, good night then, I said. See you tomorrow. As I turned to go, he grabbed my arm. I am a little angry, actually, he said. You should try to make it up to me. How? I asked. David drove me to the top of the mountain. From the observation deck, we could see the sprawling city lights below. We sat on a stone bench, and he pulled a small cake out of nowhere. A cake just big enough for two. You went down the mountain just for this? He handed me a lighter. Light the candle. I took it but couldn't get it to light. The wind was too strong. I looked up at him. He laughed at me and used his large black coat to block the wind. I took the opportunity to duck inside his coat. He looked down at me and, mimicking my usual way of speaking, asked, "What are you doing?" His voice was deep and bewitching in the mountain night. Blocking the wind. I said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Our heads were close, our breaths mingling. His white wool sweater smelled faintly of laundry detergent. The lighter sparked to life. In the flame's glow, his eyes shone like stars. I felt like he was about to kiss me. But he didn't. He lit the candle, which fizzed like a sparkler. He told me to make a wish. I asked him, "Why didn't you kiss me?" He said he was doing all this simply to celebrate my birthday with me, to make me happy, and it had nothing to do with desire. I made a wish. He asked, "What did you wish for?" I said I wished he would kiss me. He turned his head away, his expression stoic and reserved. Why did David like me? And how long would his affection last? Forget it, I said, stepping back with a smile. If you don't want to. His movement was a bit rough, a punishment for my easy surrender. But he was so gentle. He held my head steady, afraid I would hit it on the rocks. But he was losing control. He stopped. His hand, which was holding me, was scraped and bleeding. He gasped for breath against my neck, like a cornered animal. He said I had defeated him. Why don't you understand? The car heater was on. I put a bandage on the back of his hand. When I finished, he held my hand, not letting me go. The music in the car was calm, and the sky was slowly brightening. It was time to go down the mountain. I asked him, was he really that innocent, with no desire at all? He didn't say anything, just held my hand. Just as I was about to fall asleep, I vaguely heard him say something. At least, it's not the kind of desire that wants just one kiss, or just one night. He said he wanted to kiss me 1,000 times, on every morning and every evening of our lives. Liam never bothered me again after that. He became very busy. Rumor had it that all his scenes in Luminous were cut, dashing his hopes for any awards. Chloe was photographed frequently entering and leaving his home, and the next day, he officially announced their relationship. She was his first publicly acknowledged girlfriend. One night, Chloe's hand slipped, and she liked a comment from a netizen. What some people wait a lifetime for, she got in an instant. Later, it was discovered that the netizen was her own alt account. Just when I thought Liam would fade out of my life, I ran into him at the hospital. I was there for a follow-up appointment. The doctor was a friend of Liam's and had been treating me for years. I sat outside while he and Liam were inside. Why did her condition just get better all of a sudden? The doctor explained, it's not better, it's transferred. It was always a psychological issue. It's normal for the object of fixation to change. Normal? Liam sneered. It should have changed a long time ago. The condition can be minor or major, but she was just too attached to you before. And now? Now she's not. So it was easy for her to switch. There was a long silence in the room. The doctor sighed and got up to water his plants. The treasure you were hoarding has been dug up by someone else, you idiot. Let her go. You know she was a victim too, the doctor said. But by letting her, even manipulating her, to live in a mire of self-punishment, weren't you just afraid she would leave you? The doctor turned to face him. She's not the only one with problems. Did you take the medicine I prescribed for you? Liam slumped in his chair, as if all his strength had been drained. I don't want to be sober, he said. And she can't be sober either. We deserve to sink together. Do you love her? The doctor asked. No, he denied it instantly. Who would love her? I just hate her. Hate her enough to marry her? It was just a tactic. She's the one who can't leave. Liam let out a small laugh, but his eyes were filled with malice. Her body can only accept me. She married me at such a young age. Even if we're divorced, she's still the woman who married her own brother. No other man will want her, so she'll have to come back to me. The doctor stared at him calmly. So that's the inescapable trap you wove for her. You blocked all her escape routes, hoping no one in the world would ever love her. That way, she would have no choice but to beg you to love her. Yes. It was a perfect plan. I spent years crafting it. Why should some other guy get to just waltz in and take it all away? Liam supported his forehead with one hand and smiled. He seemed to have found some kind of validation. What is he? He definitely doesn't know the whole story. If he knew, he would leave her for sure. I got up and left the hospital. When I got home, Jenna was busy trying to borrow a gown. The vessel had been greenlit for release and was nominated for a film festival. I don't know who did the seating chart, Jenna said, looking annoyed, but they put you right next to Liam. What rotten luck. She told me to pick from a few gowns. I chose a short, white, diamond-encrusted couture dress. On the night of the awards ceremony, Liam and I didn't make eye contact at all. But as soon as I sat down, he whispered, "You really think he's going to want you?" He was talking about David, who was sitting in the front row, about to go on stage to accept an award. I know men better than anyone. His thumb rested on the armrest between us. He's just playing with you. Under the spotlight, David went on stage to accept his award. As the applause thundered, Liam was still talking to me. As long as you admit defeat and give in, I can remarry you tonight. The applause faded like a receding tide, and the room fell silent, waiting for David's acceptance speech. He stood on stage and looked toward my seat. Liam noticed it too. David proposed to me in front of everyone. The camera panned to me in the audience. It also caught Liam beside me. Under the glare of the camera, he had no choice but to applaud with the crowd, smiling as he said to me, "Wow, he's proposing." I won an award. To prevent a media frenzy, the organizers arranged for me to leave early before the news broke. David was waiting for me at our agreed-upon spot. "Tia." Under the dim lights of the parking garage, Liam called out to me. He reached out, trying to grab me, but David blocked him. Liam smiled and asked him, "What do you like about her? Do you even know what kind of person she is? Do you know she was married to me?" "I know." David's response was crisp and unexpected. "You know?" Liam looked at him in disbelief. "You know, and you still dare to be with her?" He took half a step back and sneered. "You're picking up damaged goods, you know that? You marry a shameless, immoral bitch, and people will be whispering behind your back for the rest of your life." "I'm not afraid," David said, looking at him calmly. "Because I love her." Liam was speechless. The courage he lacked, David had. The person he didn't dare to love, David did. From the very beginning, the only one afraid of being judged was Liam. For so many years, in all those days of living under someone else's roof, I had dreamed that someone would rescue me from it all. But Liam couldn't. He was as delicate as a porcelain doll that couldn't be touched. The person who could take me away would have to be like the biting north wind of early winter. Unafraid of being broken. Just like now, sitting behind David on his motorcycle, holding him tightly. The cold wind stripped away all the cruel words that had ever been thrown at me, and my head began to clear. All that was left was the warmth of his body, wrapping around me again and again. "David." "Yeah?" He could hear me. I didn't grow up well. In fact, I feel like I've become more of a mess. When he said we should get married, I just did it. I lived without a sense of self. But you're different. David was a distant star. "That's not true." He contradicted me. "I was just luckier than you. I grew up in a family where I didn't have to do anything to be loved. Tia, you're the amazing one. To have survived in an environment without love and gotten to where you are now, you're the amazing one. So now, let me be the one to admire you." "Admire what?" I asked. "The warm, quiet vitality in you." Liam's career took a nosedive. He was frequently called out for forgetting his lines, messing up names, and appearing dazed on variety shows. Then one night, he was rushed to the emergency room, causing a public uproar with all sorts of speculation. His agent finally issued a statement, saying he would be taking a break for a while. The doctor said he had a substance abuse problem. I ran into him downstairs from my new apartment. His face was pale. I had never seen him look so haggard. "I have nothing now, just as you wished." He lit a cigarette. "Tia, isn't the punishment enough?" he asked. "When are you coming home?" "I have my own life now." The ash from his cigarette fell onto the back of his hand, but he didn't react. "I can easily destroy your life. I could post a tell-all right now. All I have to do is reveal everything about our past." He turned to look at me. "And then you'll never be able to leave me." "Fine. Post it." My face was calm. He clearly hadn't expected that answer and stood frozen in place, at a complete loss. "You can destroy me," I said with a serene smile. "I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not alone anymore." He crouched down and grabbed the hem of my pants. "I'm sorry. Tia, I'm sorry. I apologize. You can do whatever you want to me, just come back." I kicked him away. I saw tears streaming down his face. "I was here first. Why?" "Let it go, Liam." He wouldn't give up. "If I had been nicer to you from the beginning, if we had." "There are no ifs." I looked down at him. "We are two broken people. We can't heal each other." He rolled up his sleeve, revealing a scarred arm. "It must be because I'm not good enough that you don't want me," he said, grabbing my wrist. "For every day you don't come back, I'll torture myself for a day. I don't care. I pried his hand off. Don't guilt trip me. These are your own choices. I don't have to live carrying your burdens, and I don't have to live carrying my mother's. I am just myself. From the very beginning, I was a free, independent person who loves earnestly and deserves to be loved earnestly in return. I went upstairs. The bedroom light was still on. Someone was waiting for me. I took off my coat and slipped into the warm bed. He turned over and wrapped his arms around me. David, I have a question. He nuzzled my hair, waiting for me to continue. The day we met again, why didn't you just come find me directly and ask for my address? He let out a muffled laugh and held me tighter. Don't laugh when I tell you. I looked up at him. I won't laugh. Because I was afraid you wouldn't give it to me. A gentle breeze rustled the curtains. His eyes were full of the shimmering moonlight. David, if my past gets exposed, it will affect you. It's okay, he smiled. Worst case, I'll stop being a director. I have enough money for us to travel the world. But isn't that your dream? He didn't answer my question. Instead, he said, do you want to hear a story? What story? The story of why I fell in love with you. Just a few weeks into my freshman year of high school, I was called into the principal's office. It was for one reason only: I was too conspicuous. My face, my arms, they were all covered in bruises. Did a classmate do this? The teacher asked me. I shook my head. Was it someone at home? I didn't say anything. The teacher sighed. I need to talk to your parents about this. The teacher had me call home. No one answered. Where is your mother? She disappeared. And your biological father? He's dead. It was a dead end. The teacher looked through my files and asked, don't you have an older brother? I froze, instinctively covering my hands. Yes, the one who got into film school, the really brilliant one, a teacher at the next desk chimed in. He used to be my student. I have his number. And just like that, she called Liam. He came. He listened politely and patiently as the teacher explained, claimed he knew nothing about it, and promised to protect me from now on. All the teachers praised him profusely. They even asked for a few signed posters. Liam smiled and put his arm around my shoulder, his face gentle. Let's go, little sister. The moment we turned a corner, out of sight of the security cameras, he slapped me. The slap was so hard it gave me a nosebleed. He pulled out a wet wipe and cleaned his hands. Did you tell on me? No. Good. He tossed the tissue into the trash. Does it hurt? He asked, his eyes listless. From now on, I won't hit your face. I'll only hit places people can't see. You hide it well. Don't let this happen a second time, he said. Liam left, and I stood alone in the corner, catching my breath. Breathe. Just slowly find the feeling of breathing again. The blood soaked the sleeve of my school uniform. Someone handed me a pack of tissues. It was my new desk mate. I wiped my nose for a long time. He stayed by my side the whole time. I suddenly remembered and said to him, "Hey, it's my birthday today." I laughed at my own words. Happy birthday. He wasn't a man of many words, not good at comforting people. He asked me, "Do you have a wish?" A wish. I thought about it. No. I don't want to live, and I don't want a do-over. I just want to disappear. I looked up at him, at his slightly frail frame in the same school uniform as mine. Can you build dreams? Build dreams? Yeah, like weaving a dream for someone. I wish I could become someone else. He looked at me seriously. The warning bell rang. It was time to go back to class. I got up, not giving our brief conversation a second thought. And I didn't hear, as I walked up the stairs, David standing there and saying to me, "I can." Later, he excelled in his studies and went to America. I was trapped in a swamp, letting life drag me down. Until one biting early spring night. 4 in the morning. After all those years, the first words he spoke to me were, "I'm here. Come down." I thought he was a star I could never reach. I never knew he was the one who wanted to pluck the stars from the sky and give them to me.